welcome to the MPLS lab session. This is our second video about MPLS. In our first video, we have discussed about what is MPLS and how it works, what are the advantages of it, and along with an example, also we have discussed how the MPLS works in theories. Okay, this is our second video, and in this video, we are going to see in practical using this simulator how MPLS works in the real-time network. Okay, if uh, if anyone is new to MPLS, I suggest you to please go through the first video and you can refer this. I have also given the URL of the first video in my below description. Please refer that. So let's start. This is the sample setup I have taken, in which I have four routers for doing MPLS, and this side there is a LAN segment with an IP address 1.1.1.0/24, and this side the LAN segment is 6.6.6.0/24, and each router has a loopback IP address as I have mentioned here, and these are the WAN IP interfaces that uses /30 subnet. Okay, so before starting, let's refresh about MPLS. MPLS is an multi-protocol label switching. Instead of using only the IP address and routing table to forward the packet, it uses the labels and switch the packet from the source to destination very efficiently. Okay, and it is also known as layer 2.5 because it uses both the it comes in between layer 2 and layer 3. Okay, so it's also known as layer 2.5. And one important thing is, in order to run an MPLS network, first we need to establish an IP routing network. Okay, so mean to say, if we want to establish an MPLS over a network, first of all we should establish a network using a routing protocol. Over that we can run an MPLS. Without a routing protocol, it is not possible to run MPLS. Okay, and one of the important thing is, it uses LDP, that is label distribution protocol. Each MPLS router you will use LDP protocol, that is label distribution protocol, to generate labels. Okay, and these labels will be assigned to all the IPs, all the networks that are learned through the EAGRP network. Okay, say for example, in this scenario, before going to practical session, I'll just give you the overview. Say for example, if I want to ping from this PC, from this network to, if I'm trying to ping this network, that is 666.6. Okay, first the routing protocol will be learning all the networks, right, directly and indirectly connected network over the routing protocol, through the routing protocol. Say for example, this router 1 will generate labels and it will assign the labels to all the learned network. That's like the router 2 also will generate labels using LDP, and it will assign labels to all the network that are learned through EAGRP. And one important thing is, each router will maintain a table that has the label informations that is managed by the neighbor as well. Say for example, router 2 knows what is the label that is assigned for the network 6.6.6.0, as well as what is the label that is assigned for the same network by the router 3. Okay, as like that, each router will know what is the label that is generated and managed, maintained by the remote router. Okay, and based on that, this packet will be forwarded. So mean to say, when router 1 is forwarding to router 2, it will paste the label which is generated in this router, and it will send it. So this is how it works. So let's start. And one important thing, in order to minimize the time consumption, I have already assigned the IP address and IP address to the routers. Okay, and also, as I said, we need to have an routing protocol. We should already implement a routing protocol, which is already done in these three routers. So, and I have not configured any routing protocol in this router, just to show how EAGRP configuration should be done. So let me show all the IP interfaces are configured. Okay, and all these rest other routers are configured with the EAGRP routing protocol. In this router, first let me configure EAGRP routing protocol to show how to configure EAGRP. So the syntax is, first we need to router EAGRP, and we need to mention what is the autonomous system number. So as I have given autonomous system 100 for all these three routers, for this router also I'm giving us like 100. Okay, then I need to advertise all the directly connected network. So the first network is this 1.1.1.0, that is directly connected. As it's an EAGRP, instead of giving subnet mask, we need to give the wildcard mask, which is a reverse of it. Okay, so as it's a slash 24 network, 0.0.0 slash 255. Okay, just like the same, I'm advertising the 10 network, 10.10.10.0, as it's a slash 13 network. The subnet mask, sorry, the wildcard mask is 0.0.0.3. Okay, then I'm advertising the loopback address network 2.2.2.0, and its subnet mask is 0.0.0.55 wildcard mask. Okay, so now the EHRP neighborship is formed. Let me check. Show IP EHRP neighbors. Yes, the EHRP neighborship is formed with the peer. Mean to say the R2. Okay. Let's check what are the networks that it is learned. So IP route. Show IP route, and all the routes that is mentioned with D is the network that it was learned using the protocol EHRP. If you see, it's mentioned here, right? So whatever network that is learned with D is, it means it's learned using the EHRP. So it's confirmed that router 1 has learned all the networks that is available in the setup. Okay, if you see the loopback address of router 2, R2, R3, R4, and the 6 network, there is a LAN subnet that is connected to the router 4. So everything it is learned, the remotely connected device. Also can check show IP EARP topology table. So where I can check, where I can see all the network that is learned only through EAGRP network. So from this I can confirm that all the networks are learned. Let's go ahead with the MPLS configuration. When it comes to MPLS configuration, before starting that, we discussed about the LDP, right? The label distribution protocol that used to generate the labels. So in order to have a better understanding when we are looking in the tables, I have given some specifications like this router should generate the label range from 100 to 199, and R2 should generate the label range from 200 to 299, and as like that R3 and R4 should generate the label only in the specified range. Okay, so based on that, configurations. So in terms of configuration, it is very simple. The first configuration we are going to do is we are going to specify the label range. So for that, MPLS label range, and I need to give what is the range. As it's a router one, I'm giving 100 to 199. That's it. Okay, so once I have given the range, the labels will be generated based on the range number I have given. And then in order to configure the MPLS, I need to call MPLS IP in the global configuration mode. That's it. And I need to configure the same in the interfaces, MPLS IP. That's it. And again in the other interface, I'm calling MPLS. That's it. It is done in router one. In terms of configuration, it's very easy. Only two lines. One is if you want to generate, if you want to specify the label range, you can specify it. Then need to call MPLS IP in global mode as well as in the interfaces. So I'm going into global configuration mode. Let me tell MPLS label range for this router is 200 to 299 as it's a router 2, and I'm calling MPLS here in the global mode. Then interface, I'm calling MPLS. So if you see, once I call MPLS in the interface, it starts that it's the neighborship is up. Right? So MPLS IP router 3, as I said earlier, all the IP interfaces are configured with IP address. I'm going to global configuration mode. I'm specifying the label range. Okay, router 3, so 300 to 399. Okay, then MPLS IP used in global mode, and specify and to call MPLS in the interface. Calling MPLS in the other interface as well. So as like the same, I'm doing in router 4 also. Configure terminal. First, I think I need to specify the range, label range, 200 to 499. I need to call MPLS in global. Then I need to call MPLS in the interfaces I'm using. That's it, MPLS configuration is done. So it's very simple. Now MPLS configurations is done. Okay. So as I said earlier, each router will generate labels. If you want to check it, show MPLS LDP bindings. So with this command, we can check all the labels that is generated in each router. And one important thing, the label will not be generated for the directly connected networks in each router. Say for example, if you are checking in router 1, the loopback IP address, the 22222 and this 10.10.10.1 and 1.1. Network, all these three routers, sorry, all the three networks are directly connected to router ones. Okay, so these labels will not be generated for three, only for these three networks. Okay, so if we check, uh, we are checking for the label table. Okay, if you see 1110/24, for this particular network, actually it is directly connected to router 1, so it have not generated any label, so it's showing as implicit null. And as I said earlier, each router will maintain a table with the information as like what is the label that is generated for the same network. I'm sorry, what the neighbor table, neighbor router generated label for the same network. You see, router 1 will maintain a table which shows about the labels that is generated for router 1 as well as for router 2. Okay, if you see, the remote binding is nothing but the remote, the neighbor R2. Okay, LSR is nothing but label switch router, that's name of the router. In MPLS network, each router will be called as LSR, that is label switching router, because here the packets is switched based on the labels, right? So each router in the MPLS network is called as LSR. Okay, and it's giving its loopback address. It's nothing but the R2. Okay, so if you see 1.1.1.0/24, it has router 1 has no labels for it because it's directly connected. However, router 2 generated label 200 for this particular network. Okay, as like the same 2.2.2.0/24, it's directly connected, so router 1 have not generated any label for it. However, router 2, the neighbor, have generated label 201 for it. Okay, and check. Okay, let's take like our example, that is 6 network, which is nothing but this particular LAN subnet. Okay, if you see, router 1 have generated label 103 for this network, 6.6.6.0/24. You see, it shows local binding. Local binding means the label that is generated locally, and the remote binding, it is 204. When I say remote binding, it is the neighbor. So router 1 knows what is the label that is generated for a particular network from this router. Also, he knows what is the label that is generated by his neighbor also. So based on it only, he'll forward the packet. Okay, so this is how it maintains. If we see router 2, it will be much easier for us to understand. Show MPLS LDP binding. So if you see, as like the same, he will maintain, router 2 will maintain three informations as like for each network, what is the label generated in this router, and what is the label generated in this router, and what is the label generated for the same network in this router. So all these three information he will maintain, because he has two MPLS neighbors. If you see, our example is 6.6.6, right? Okay. So for this 6.6.6.0/24 network, router 2 is generated 204 as a label, as what we have seen here. You see here, yeah. From here also we can see router, from router 1 table we notice that router 2 has generated 204 as its label. Okay, if we verify here, it will show the same information. Okay, so router 2 have generated the label 204 for this particular network, and router 1 have generated 103 for the same network, and router 3 has generated 304 for the same network. So this is how each router will maintain the table of the label informations. So based on this, the packet will be moved. Say for example, if PC1 is trying to reach PC2, that is this PC, when the packet comes here, router 1 will see and his table, and he will paste the label which is maintained in router 2. Okay, and once this router 2 received the label from received the packet from router 1, it will remove the label and it will paste the label which is maintained here. Okay, so say for example, in our example, okay, if you are trying to reach 666 network from this PC, when this packet comes here, R1 will uh, place the label as like 204, because 204 is the label that is maintained in router 2 for this particular network. Okay, so he will paste the label 204 and it's sent to here. Okay, once R2 received, he will swap the label, he will swap the label and will put label 304 and send it to here, because 304 is the label that is maintained here for this particular network. This is how the packet is switched in the MPLS network. Okay, so also I can see that information showing MPLS forwarding table. If I want to specifically see this network 24, it will give me what is the label generated in my local router, and what is the label I should paste when I am moving to my neighbor. Okay, so all these informations will be here, and what is the network name, and what is the outgoing interface, in which through which interface the packet will go out. So all this information will be here. And one important thing is, so if I'm simply seeing the forwarding table, if you see, I'm seeing information as like pop label, right? It means that this is for, it's showing the pop label information is showing for the network 3.3.3.0/24, nothing but loopback IP address of the router R2, which is directly connected. Okay, it means that for this particular network, R1 has generated a label. However, as this network is directly connected to R2, uh, he knows that whenever he want to forward a packet to this particular network, he will remove the packet. Sorry, he will remove the label and directly forward it, because it is directly connected. So labels are not used. Okay, so this is how it works. Okay, so let's capture this interface and see what will happen if we try to reach from this PC to that PC. Let's see how this uh, MPLS operation will happen. It will take some minutes to load. Let's wait. Select the same. I'm capturing packets in all the manual interface also. So now I am enabling, have enabled packet captures in all these interfaces. Okay, all the packets are captured. Done. Okay, if you see, we are running packet capture between all the interfaces, right? Okay. So let's see how MPLS works. This is PC1. As I informed earlier, I have already assigned the IP address for this PCS2. So I have assigned the IP address 1.1.1.1, and for PC2 I have assigned 6.6.6.6. Okay, so this is the IP address I have assigned. Okay. From PC1 I'm trying to reach PC2. Okay, which is supposed from 4 routers. So if I ping, I'll get a response. Okay, but I'm from this response we are not sure how these packets are transferred, right? So let's check this captures. I'm filtering ICMP packets. So if we check the we have 8 packets, 4 requests and 4 response, and if you see there is no change. The source is 1.1.1 and the destination is 6.6.6.6. Okay, and okay, this is the link between the PC and the router one. Okay, now I'm going to router 1 and router 2 where this MPLS works. Here also filtering with ICMP. So if we check for the packets, there is a new label, the new layer which is added, right? This is what MPLS layer, which is 2.5. This is the reason why we are saying as a layer 2.5, because it comes in between layer 2 and layer 3, which is IP layer and the MAC layer. This is the reason we are calling this as a layer 2.5. So if you check here, the source and destination IP address will be the remains the same. There won't be any changes there. However, if you're checking in the labels, it will show us like label 204. Okay, so as we seen earlier, okay, as we have seen earlier, uh, 103 is the label that is generated for R1, and when it is forwarding the traffic to R2, it will put the label as 204. Okay, just like the same. Show MPLS forwarding table 6.6.6.0/24. So when if we check the link between R2 to R3, it will give the label information as like 304. Okay, because 304 is the label that is generated in R3. So this is the link that's used between R2 to R3. I'm filtering ICMP. So yeah, that there is no changes in the source and destination IP address because the router will not see that. However, it will check for the MPLS packet and it will swap the packets when forwarding it. So in earlier, when we check for the link between router 1 and router 2, it shows us like 204, 203, and when we are checking for router 2 and router 3, it's here as like 304 because the swapping is done. That's like the same. So if we are checking here, show MPLS forwarding cable for 6.6.0/24, it will show us like pop label. The reason being that is router the network 6.6.6.0/24 is directly connected to the neighbor router R4. So there is no need of labels, right? Because it is directly connected to the neighbor. So when the packet comes here, this router 3 will pop up the label. It will remove the label 304 and it will send the packet as it is. So if you see here, that is, this is the link between R3 and R4. Now it will remove the MPLS packet. There won't be any label informations. The raw packet will be sent. So it from here it will go through the IP address only. So there is no changes like 1.1.1.1 and 6.6.6.6. Okay. And even if you check for the link between R4 and the destination PC, the LAN segment, there also it remains the same. So this is how MPLS works. So as I said earlier, MPLS, it works based on the labels, not only based on the IP address and the routing table. Okay, and there are three important operations. One is push, swap, and pop. Push takes place when the packet enters into the MPLS network. The very first router of the MPLS network will push the label into that packet, and it will forward to the next MPLS router. And the routers in the MPLS network will do the swap operations, which they will replace the labels based on their destinations. And the pop operations is nothing but it removes the labels in the egress router, and it will forward the raw packet to the destination. So this is how the MPLS is working. I believe this video will be useful to someone. If it is, please like the video, subscribe the channel, and share it with your friends. If you have any queries, please post it in the comment. Thank you for your time.